I feel like sort of relationship, children, or things like that. Does that make sense to you?
He was long past before I developed anything positive or family-wise or marriage or anything like that. So yeah, he missed a lot.
Yeah, he's saying he didn't see any of it, and he's quite sad because he says, "I would have made a great grandfather."
Well, my elder son is named after him.
Oh, how nice!
My elder son, I gave him the honor to have my dad's name.
Wow, wow! And I'm going all tingly as you say that, and he's saying to me that it's an absolute honour that you chose his name. He loves it.
Mm-hmm.
He loves it. He's quite chuffed, actually.
Yeah.
He's quite. And
No middle name, just straightforward, just his name and the last name. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. My mom okay?
Yeah, before I go to your mum, your dad is just saying to me that although he hasn't been around you in the physical sense, he has been around you in a spiritual sense. So all what's happened in your life, he's been there and been able to be part of it. And
well, that's a good thing.
And before I move on to your mum, was there something to do with your Christmas? An incident?
An incident at Christmas time.
If it's
I
not
can't
Christmas,
really recall.
If it's not Christmas, Thanksgiving, or there's some sort of family gathering where there was a bit of an incident or a bit of a he's not being specific, but he's just bringing it up and letting you know that it's his way of letting you know that he's around you in your life. And your mum, she's here with him, and that they're together in the spirit world. And I think that's and I'm being told that's really important that you know that, because you've often wondered whether they got together, is what your mum's saying. And she said yes, she has. I feel with your mum, she was more the strict one in the family. Do you remember that? Yeah,
she was.
And she's saying to me, I'm sort of the strict one, and had to sort of lay the law down a little bit. But it didn't mean that she didn't love you any less, because she's saying to me,
not at all.
She's saying to me that she has a great deal of love for you. And is there somebody in the spirit world with an M name, like Margaret?
Margaret.
Maggie, Margaret, Mary. I'm just hearing that M name.
Yeah. Mary.
Yeah. Because I'm being told that person is here as well, and I'm also, and your mum is saying to me that she's met up with one of her good friends that had passed many years before her, and it was a great upset to her, because she was very close to this friend, and she's telling me that she's met up with her, and I know that, and it was like a big celebration when she went to the spirit world, because she met up with her old friend.
Papa!
I guess sometimes things just happen. Devastating things. It's got nothing to do with fairness. Bam. Your whole world changes in an instant. And you never see it coming. That's what happened to me the day my mother had a stroke. I'm Paul George, and I want you to learn the signs of a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke. F-A-S-T. Fast.
It's Misha Amy Angels, August 4th. Hi friends, it's Amy Angels and welcome. Here we are, another week. We're midway now through June and a lot of topics to talk about today. There's been a lot of emotions, lessons, all those type of things being pushed up and shown to people in various ways. And as you know, with the spiritual intelligence, my mission is to share with you what I'm going through and people who let me share with you what they're also going through, just to highlight it's not just me. I'm not alone. It's not just you. And that's what I really want to talk about as we create the community of awareness around our spiritual development and spiritual intelligence. So, as I always like to do at the beginning, just give you a quick synopsis of, we say, what has been for the past week for me. I'm in Melbourne still, and I'm on my last week. I'm on the last week here in Melbourne, and it's been pushing up huge emotions in me. There's been a lot of stuff. I remember at the beginning of June, I spoke about there will be a lot of spiritual breakthroughs, and that translates to awareness during the month of June. And I, for one, have been feeling that tremendously during the past week. And very much so, given that I'm moving, we say, back towards Europe. I'm going via China, as I've spoken about. And just things that I know that I've got to settle. There's a few things that have been pushed up that I cannot ignore anymore. And things that I need to tidy up on an emotional level. And that pushes up tremendous emotions. Anybody will feel that. So for me, it's been really about taking stock of what it is and how I'm going to do it. I'm putting it out there, the energy that, it's going to be okay. This has to be met, the emotions, the circumstances, and how I can actually bring myself to it and how I can actually work with what I will bring up. So as always, as I support that, I know I'm not alone. I know I've been talking to people here during the past few days, and yeah, the emotions are being really pushed up to the forefront. So as I always do, I'd like to start with picking out a card for this week from the inspirational cards, because we're all needing that. If you're here, you're connecting with A1R Psychic Radio, you're looking for readings, you're looking for inspiration, for direction, there's a reason you're actually hearing what I'm going to talk about right now. So I'm going to pick from the pack of cards as always, and it's for everybody. It's a generic card for all of us. And look at this. Time to leave your comfort zone. That's just so and so with what I just said. I mean, time to leave your comfort zone. Yes, I know that. It's very much about, what we are facing into at the moment. as I talked about with all the spiritual awareness and alignments and what we're driving towards. So there's a couple of areas I'd like to talk about today. One, I just want to talk about addictions. Okay, so when I say the word addiction, what does that stir up in you? Do you automatically think about alcohol or drugs? What about sugar? What about food? What about behaviors? Certain behaviors that when we're triggered. And that's just an area I would just like us to give some thought on, and it's something I'm going to build on in time through examples, and maybe some people will talk about it. So one of the things I have found in the past couple of weeks, and I can put my hand up to this as well, and somebody put a post on Facebook just the other day about their awareness of it, and they were talking about sugar cravings. How when you feel, let's use the word unloved, not good enough, being stressed. I mean, think of work, think of your daily life. You're stressed and you're just feeling you're not heard, which is a big factor going on at the moment. What do? Where do you go to? And this person put up the post, and I can put my hand up and say, yes, that is me also. And I remember when I got to the point of being so aware of what I call the treats cupboard and how I was going to it, and it didn't matter how quickly I made the bar of chocolate disappear or the biscuits. And if you're sitting there right now and you've got the biscuits or the chocolate, just take a moment. No, I'm not finger pointing at you, but maybe just take a moment to, why am I eating this? Is this a habit? Is there an emotion behind it? And I made the point to this person the other day, when I work with people and they're talking about addictions and obviously, the treats. And I said, when you go to that cupboard, or is it the fridge? For some people, it could be cheese. It could be you just constantly go and you're eating cheese. Put a sticker on the cupboard or the box where you keep the treats, and just onto that, right, what emotion am I feeding? Or another way to put it is, what emotion am I trying to numb? So think about that. Does that make you feel uncomfortable to think about it, first and foremost? Do you feel guilty thinking about it? If you have a pen and a piece of paper, write down those initial feelings. And that's where you start. So if you can just bring the awareness, just acknowledge. First step, acknowledging. This is how I cope with stress. It could be the glass of wine or the beers, or it could be drugs, or it could be over-the-counter drugs. You have to deal with pain. What is it for you? I know for me, when I became aware of it, and very recently too, I've been challenged with it even here in the recent weeks, of watching it with people and thinking, oh my gosh, what is that replacing, first of all? For some people they might have given up drugs and now they're eating sugar. And sugar is such, the brain realizes, I want more, so feed me more. And then after a while, there's this, what I call a snap feeling in you, and it's like, no more. And then you do good, and you're back on track, and then something again triggers you. So what I'm trying to do with this series is bring awareness to what triggers me. Where do I feel it? So for me, this particular week, the emotions have been very much about, okay, I've got to go back and settle some things and tidy up some things, and particularly on an emotional level, and things I probably should have done before, but there is no before. This is the right time. This is the time, as the card said, time to leave your comfort zone and really just embrace what's to happen. So maybe that is you. Maybe it is time for you to look at, what is my comfort zone? Is the chocolate? Is the hot chocolate? You could be drinking a hot chocolate if you're in a cool part of the world, or the biscuits. What is it feeding? What is the emotion? But as I said, write down the words that it's giving to you. You know, are you feeling guilty? Are you feeling shame? Are you feeling, or maybe you're feeling the emotion, or it's the memory. It's the, I get this feeling when I think about, and put in the rest. So then, I spoke earlier at the start of these shows, what are your tools to help you cope? You know, so do you go for a crystal healing session? Do you go for IAT, massage? Do you go and talk to a therapist? You know, for me, one of my favorite things, as I've told you, is crystal support, etc., and things like that. Another one that I love to do is EFT, emotional freedom technique. So that's tapping on the points. Again, go to YouTube. You will find, put in tapping for, excuse me, and put in the emotion. Is it for overeating? Is it for shame? Put in the word, put in a search, and just see, what are you drawn to? And you might do so much yourself, but I will always say you need to, for certain breakthroughs, you will need to go and talk to a practitioner. You know, there's various details on that. I do that too via Skype as well. So if you want to contact, please go to my Facebook page, which is Life of Amy. Connect with me there, like the page, and we can message, etc., and things like that. But also, you know, it could be holding a crystal. It could be getting some energy work done on you. You know, in IET, which is Integrated Energy Therapy. So we do healing with the energy of angels. And we use the expression, let's get the issues out of the tissues. Because remember, everything is imprinted. You know, even the babies in the womb take in information. They store memories. So, you know, you often think, oh, should they forget about that? They won't remember that. The emotional impact is stored in the tissues. So it shows itself up at a very later stage in life, which could be, it could be 40 years later. You know, so for me, what I find is this particular past few days, you know, my crystals. You know, I've spoken about kyanite, which is the crystal for 2017, and the support. And, you know, I have it so close to me all the time. If it's not next to me in the bed locker, it's in my handbag, just to give me that additional support at working through and allowing these emotions to come to the surface and really saying, okay, how can I deal with it and how am I supporting myself? And I'm not alone. Like, I've been talking to people who are on the spiritual development path and the challenges that they're facing this week. And I made a comment just yesterday, I think it was, you know, we are consciously aware of what is happening and of what we have to face, the emotions, etc., the situations that are coming down the track, but we have no control over how it will impact us as we go along. Many people are not aware. So they have that extra stress, as I call it, of thinking, it must be just me. Nobody else is talking about this. You know, I must be crazy. I attract this. It is on a global scale. It is everywhere. I've been talking to people here in Melbourne, in the Middle East, in Ireland, and they're all talking about the same thing. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling very emotional. This is happening. My body is showing me this. So you're not alone. That's what I want to get across to you today. You are not alone. You are a part of this global community, which is going through massive changes, really being pushed on it. So just allow yourself, just really, if you can, spend a moment and take a deep breath. And just look at, what is it I go to? What is it sitting around me at the moment? You know, there could be some food, there could be some, you know, is this an everyday thing? Or it may not be, but what else could it be? It could be a behavior. Look at that as well. And be kind to yourself as you acknowledge it. I found just this past week here in Melbourne, the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival was on, and I was a little bit not inclined to go because I have been to it in recent months, and the energy of it was just yuck. That's the word I can only describe it as, yuck. So for me, as a consciously aware person of feeling that going in, somebody who is unconsciously aware and is so interested in going to, oh, it's mind, body, spirit, let's go get readings, let's go get crystals or learn something about what they talk about in the various talk rooms, performance stages, etc. People were getting so sick they would just turn around and walk back out. So I popped in on Saturday just to check the energy, and the energy was good. It had shifted, it had changed. So I went back in on the Monday to spend time there on my own and really just connect. For me, I'm connecting, as you know, with crystal shops, crystal people who are interested in learning about the Divine Essence Crystal Healing system. Who wants to become a crystal healing practitioner? They were there from Perth, Brisbane, Canberra, Sydney, all over Australia. They had come to this. And for me, it was great to see the volume of crystals that were on offer, the amount of different people who had come in from different states here. And I can honestly tell you the vibration had changed in that Mind, Body, Spirit Festival. What I also noticed was some of the more holistic practitioners had come back. So the colleges where you can go and learn. Maybe it's something you've been thinking about, which is why I'm bringing this up now. So the kinesiology college were back. The massage colleges were back. Advertising. I hadn't seen them at recent ones. I was just there just a few months ago in November. So very interesting to see the shift that is moving towards the really holistic approach of what people are needing. So of course, I can honestly tell you that at those crystal stands, it was 3 and 4 people deep. People searching for, I need a crystal for this. And I just got chatting to people within the shops that were there and telling them about, oh, do you know this is the crystal for Kyanite came up. It's the crystal for 2017. It's helping us speak our truth, being honest, supporting us with all the changes that we're going through. We talked about various other crystals as well. And talking to the shop owners, they were really happy to be there. Purely from the point of view of, for many it was a return, but for many it was their first time being at it, and they loved the vibration. For those who were returning, they could sense the change in the vibration as well. So maybe for you, you've been putting off going to such a place in recent years because of the change. I know I was doing a talk on Saturday morning and nobody at the talk wanted to go to the MBS. It's off. The energy is off. And I thought, okay, that's interesting how they've been feeling that, whereas now there's a shift. There really is a shift happening for us. So maybe for you, maybe today, tomorrow for you, you can go and book something for yourself. Maybe you're going to, there is a festival on this weekend where there are healers that you could try something new. Maybe you're open to it. That's why you're hearing this now. Some things that you've never tried before, but you're hearing this word IET, you're hearing crystal healing. Maybe it's just go to a shop. And if you are going into a crystal shop, go in devoid of, oh, I'm going in for a crystal to support me with name and emotion. I always describe it as go into a crystal healing shop and just look. Look at the colors, look at what's in front of you, and be drawn. You will be drawn by the color first. And then go and search for that and feel the crystals. And sometimes, for me, on one of the stands that I was at on Monday, I picked up a crystal. And the rush of energy that went through me, it caught my breath. So for me, I thought, okay, this is very interesting how that might happen to you. It might be, or you might get teary-eyed, you might break out in tears, but you might get teary-eyed and you pick up certain crystals. I know that can happen to me. That's the crystal for you. But so don't be swayed by, oh, I need a crystal for anxiety. It might be a crystal for anger you actually need first to heal that to get to the anxiety level. So you look at triggers. Or it could be a case of you might have a deck of cards, the crystal cards and things like that. Pick a card. What is it? Sit with it. Do you meditate? We spoke about this as well. You know, for many people with the busy lifestyle that everybody is going through at the moment between, you know, full-time jobs, full-time working within the home, and etc., it's hard to find time. And I always talk about if you can just find 1 minute, and while breathing in, count to 5, and breathing out, count to 5. and do that 10 times, you've meditated. That's it. So if you can pick a card, or even later as you go and rest, you might think of this card that I picked. You know, time to leave your comfort zone. What does that mean to you? What does it make you feel? Just sit with it for 1 minute. You've done it. Just give yourself the grace to have that time. So another thing I wanted to talk about as well this week was how we are all moving towards embracing the rest of the year. So how are you going to do that? You know, you're looking for answers, you're asking questions. So what does it mean to you? Have you really reflected, which I've been talking about for the past few weeks, on what is my life contract? How can I really embrace my life purpose? What is it I want to do? For many of us, you know, we've moved away from the corporate world and challenged by moving into what we are passionate. And the fears are coming in then as well in relation to, yesterday, I'll give you this example of me. I was thinking, oh my gosh, do I have to go back and get an administration job? Should I do that? And I thought about it for a few minutes, and I was going, that would actually kill my soul. That's the only way I can describe it. It would kill my soul. And then, so funny, somebody actually put up a post, and I'm just looking here at this now at the moment, and was talking about how the old fears are creeping up. And it's like sucking you back. And I was like, are you going to lose your focus? The test is here. That's what this week is very much about. And we're being, you know, somebody said we're being coaxed. You know, you're making a choice. How are you going to speak up? How do you want to do this? And I remember just here, and I keep hearing the word responsibility. You know, I'm responsible for how this all goes. I'm responsible for my spiritual development. Nobody else. You know, I will always have the days where I'll question certain things, and then the other days it's just like, release, let the healing occur, let this just be. So for you listening here now at the moment, or you might be watching on Facebook, that what is it? Like, what is really pushing your soul to be happy? And remember, if there was no judgment, nobody finger pointing, whatever, what would you do? What would you choose to do with your life? How would you make an impact? How can you make a difference? And now think about, how would that make you feel by making an impact, making a difference, you know, and sharing your gift, because you have that gift. You know, somebody put up a Facebook post recently about a first quilt she made 3 or 4 years ago, and I went, the start of another gift, because this woman is amazing on the loom, and she makes these beautiful scarves and everything, and here she is, she started quilting. She must have made at least, I have to say, at least 30, 40 quilts since then. The passion, how her creativity grows, you know, and the love she puts into everything she's doing. So how would you do it? Maybe for you it's a business from home. You know, maybe you're gifted with doing things with your hands. Maybe you're gifted with listening. Maybe you want to go back to college and you're thinking, I can't do this. I'm too old. No way. You know, you're never too old. You know, I love reading stories about people who are inspired and they learn how to drive in their 70s, 80s. They learn how to use a computer in their 80s. I have such respect, and I get inspired by those people, and I think, but I would always say I'm not technically minded. I prefer to feel things, and I don't like that part of the brain. So when I'm challenged and I have to work at things on my iPod or my phone, I think to myself, I can do this. You know, we all have to learn. Remember, when we came into this life, you know, we knew exactly what was going to happen. We knew what our contract was. We knew what we'd agreed to do, but we forgot everything. Remember, we had to learn how to sit up, how to walk, how to use a knife or fork. And remember that. We had to learn right from the basics. So if you're being challenged and you're thinking, okay, what is it I want to do? What's my passion? What can I really look at. You know, some people I met here, they're thinking, I think I'm going to go back to college, and they've done a lot in college already, but they're actually going to add a fun aspect of it, like to dance or something like that. Who knows where it will take you. Please do not limit yourself. Do not limit your own abilities or your beliefs. And just remember, just go and look in the mirror and think, what is it you want to do? What is it you want to show the world and let shine? For me, it's sharing all of this. You know, it's sharing what is spiritual intelligence. You know, it's teaching people how to become a Divine Essence Crystal Healing practitioner, an IET practitioner. It's about showing people that you actually have the power. It's in you. I promise you, you have the gift. Many of you listening who are, you know, sending in requests to have readings and everything done, you have the ability. You can actually tune in and give readings to people. And you're thinking right now, going, no way. Yes, you can. You know, you have to start somewhere. So where do you start? You know, you can start by listening to someone like this. You start by listening to some of the other shows that are available and finding your niche, finding your area that you love to listen about, or that you go to my Facebook page. And you think, okay, what is it she talks about? What is IET? Let's find out about that. What is it about Reiki? What is EFT? What is this emotional freedom technique she talks about? Allow yourself 5 minutes to go and search. And just remember that, you know, we're part of a big picture. Trust yourself, trust your life lessons. Really just say to yourself, stop being agitated with myself and just think, this will all pass. This is all going to happen. It's all literally meant to be. So as we do that, I'm going to finish off by reminding you of the card, time to leave your comfort zone, which I will very much take on board. And also then I'm going to pick a card from the Angel Blessings, the IET Angels. And the card coming up is Angel Faith is blessing you with serenity. So calmness. Just take it in, breathe it in. And I'll be back here again next week, last show from Melbourne, and I look forward to chatting with you all then. So from Melbourne, Sloan, bye.
Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Is the seat supposed to be forward-facing or rear-facing? Did they move to a booster seat too soon? It may be too late to check when you're on the road. Fortunately, you're on the couch. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Don't think you know. Know you know.
Got a quarter?
A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV. You're here this week with Amanda Hall, Psychic from the Gold Coast in Australia. For those of you that aren't familiar with this part of the world, we're a little bit like California in the US of A. Beach, sun, bikinis, fun, cocktails and all that sort of stuff. But this week it's actually raining, cold, miserable because we're in the middle of winter. So we'll just sort of go back with the latter and we'll think of, you know, nice beach weather and everybody out having some fun. So it's been a very interesting week this week. I thought we'd start with the card of the week. So for those of you that have been tuning in over the last 11 weeks of the show that I've been bringing to you here each week, we always start with a card of the week from the Simply Tarot deck, a deck of cards that I created about 12 years ago now. So this week's card is the Moon. Now, it's very, very interesting because the Moon card is the card of deception or delays, emotions up or down, maybe deceiving yourself emotionally or others. So it's a card that asks us to really delve inside to ourselves and ask ourselves those very pertinent questions. Is there anything that I'm deceiving myself about? Is there something in my life that I may be not looking at squarely? Or is there something that I'm portraying to other people that isn't exactly quite truthful? Whether it's for good or bad reasons, whether we think we're protecting them or not, maybe this is the time now to be truthful with everybody that's around us. So I felt that was a very interesting card to draw on the back of us having the full moon in Sagittarius over the weekend. So it's almost like a little bit of an extension of the full moon. So we're going to continue on with our little mini astrology lessons that we've been conducting here on the show, and we're actually up to the planet of communication. We're up to Mercury. Now, Mercury is one of my favourite planets because Mercury gets a lot of press during the year. When Mercury goes retrograde and starts to play havoc with everything, everybody says, oh dear, here goes Mercury retrograde, and we blame everything on that. But Mercury is actually a very important planet in our astrological chart because it shows us how we communicate with the world. And as you may know, if you've been following this segment, your sun sign does not represent the other 9 planets sitting in the same energy. So, for example, if you're a sun sign of Aries, you may have other planets sitting in other energies. So not just because you're an Aries does everything sit in Aries. So my suggestion is look it up on the internet, check out with an astrologer where your planets are, or you can always email me on the show or go to my Facebook page and we can organise an NE chart for you. So this week we're working with the planet of communication, Mercury. Now, Mercury shows us not only how we communicate, but it also shows us our rational thinking, our intellect, how we sort of resolve intellectual problems or things that come into our thought patterns. So it's a very, very important planet to understand where Mercury sits in your chart and how it performs and how it makes you think. So for those people that are blessed, and I say blessed, to have it in the following 3 signs that we're going to work with this week. So Mercury in Aries means the fact that you are quick thinking, you can have ideas come and go very, very quickly. You like to motivate other people with your thought-provoking statements. You like to sort of come up with those light bulb moments that gives everybody, aha, that's where I need to be going, that's how I need to be looking at it, and then you disappear on to the next subject because you believe it's your responsibility is to just come up with the great ideas. You don't necessarily need to be there to execute them or move them along. So people that have Mercury in Aries quite often find they need to be in a fairly challenging job. They need to be in something where they've got to come up with quick answers, quick, decisive, let's get to it, no emotion in it. It's just, that's it. This is what's come into my mind. It's going to work, bang, on to the next thing. So it's quite an interesting placement for Mercury because Mercury does sort of feel comfortable there, but then times there it feels quite irritated too because people want you to give an explanation, and Mercury and Aries holding hands don't necessarily want to give you an explanation. We move on to the next sign, which is Mercury in Taurus. And anything we know that's got to do with the Taurian energy really drastically slows things down. So Mercury in Taurus is no different. Mercury here says, okay, let's think. Let's slow it right down. Let's look at the facts. Let's sort of analyse what's going on. Let's look at it, put it on paper, write it down, put it on the whiteboard. We need to see this in a visual way so that we can sort of ponder on this, give it a bit of thought. But it also gives us clarity here because by slowing everything down, maybe then we get more answers in the way that we need to approach something on a communication level. You quite often find people with Mercury in Taurus have lovely speaking voices, and they quite often have beautiful speaking and singing voices as well. So it's really, really interesting when you work with someone that has Mercury in Taurus. You quite often say, I could listen to them recite anything. Their beautiful voice is just so amazing. So it's a nice placement to have Mercury in Taurus. If you're lucky enough to have that, you probably have a beautiful singing voice hidden there somewhere. So for those that have Mercury in Gemini, well, what can I say? Mercury's at home in Gemini. It's the planet that rules Gemini. So it's the one where Mercury loves to be the most. He's just right at home here. It's sort of quick, fast, logical, practical, indecisive, happy, everything all rolled into one. So anybody that has Mercury in Gemini, you quite often find that they go into a communications industry. A lot of people in the media particularly have Mercury in Gemini because they have that ability to think quickly, to rationalise information almost at the speed of lightning. It's almost like a computer brain that they have. They can quite often have photographic memories, but it's only when something really interests them. It's in, it's out, it's here, it's gone. They don't necessarily always retain that information unless it means something to them or is important to them. So please don't be too hard on our fellow Geminis that have Mercury in Gemini, because they process so much information. It's like the speed of lightning, that things come, things go, and they can't retain it all, otherwise their brains would explode. But they do make great journalists. They do come up with some very thought-provoking questions and ideas and give us different ways of looking at things and sort of innovation. And I think we all need that, and particularly in today's world where we're surrounded by so much communication in all the forms of social media. Sometimes we get a little bit overwhelmed in how that we should process all this stuff. You know, once upon a time, not that long ago, we used to send a letter by the snail mail. Now, if it's not there instantly, there's something wrong. So look at how life has changed in the last 20 or 30 years, and just makes you realise how quickly communication can change. So for the final little part before we take some calls here, I always like to try and bring in something that might be happening around this amazing universe of ours on an astrological front. Last week we spoke about the full moon in Sagittarius. This week I'd like to change the pace a little bit and talk about one of my other favourite planets that's just gone direct. Now, Jupiter has been retrograde now for a number of months this year and has just gone direct on the 10th of this month. So what this means in layman's terms, if you've been feeling a little bit stuck, if you've been trying to get new ideas off the ground, if you've been trying to reinvent yourself or reorganise your life or wanting to step out and do something new and you felt like you've had two concrete boots on, well, you probably have with Mercury going retrograde. Well, the good news is, I beg your pardon, I keep saying Mercury, it's Jupiter. With Jupiter going retrograde, Jupiter has now just gone direct on the 10th of June, and it's in Libra, so it's in an energy where Jupiter does feel reasonably okay, because the Librian energy is about balance, is about finding the truth, is about the nicer times of life, you know, bringing the prettier side of things in. It wants everything to be happy, joy, joy. You know, we want everything to be beautiful and perfect as much as possible. So Jupiter feels right at home there, because it's asking you to try and bring some perfection into your life. And it's also asking you, what is it that maybe you need to let go of? What is it that you're trying to bring into your life to improve it? And I think it's interesting now that Jupiter's gone direct, fingers crossed, that we may just see a little bit of a breather here with this terrorism that's been going on around the world, that maybe we might have just diffused a little bit of that. We can only hope, so that people can start to sort of try and put their lives back together and see some positive things. Let's try and move the second half of this year along in a very positive, dynamic way, and looking at just maybe doing one tiny little thing for ourselves, something that we can all manage. That's your homework for the week. Try and think of something that you can do, one small step you can take that will improve your life, that will bring you some joy. And if we all did that around this amazing globe of ours, imagine the positive energy that we would all start to amass. Because one person doing something positive and then the next person doing something positive, and on it goes, we change the energy around the globe. And I think that's what we need to be doing at the moment, is we need to try and find a positive way of all of us taking a little bit of responsibility for ourselves and our own lives, and collectively the energy will shift. And I think that's a really nice way of looking at it. So in the jigsaw of you, of how you're made up, that's what we've been doing as we work through these planets, and we work through a little bit of what's happening in the universe every week. So we're going to now start to take our first caller for the show. We've got Lisa in Denver City. So Lisa, are you there? Texas? Lisa? Lisa, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can I help you? How can we help you tonight, sweetie? Do you have a particular question you'd like me to answer, Lisa?
I was just really looking for some general insight. I am also a light worker, and I do some psychic medium work, and I'm just looking at some guidance or some insight maybe of what you're getting drawn to tell me of where I can take my business a step further, or what I can do, just some general guidance.
Okay. Lisa, do you mind sharing with me your date of birth, please, sweetie? Just the day and the month will be fine.
May 4th.
Okay, so you're Taurus, Lisa. Okay, so because the first thing I was getting psychic was that you were at a crossroads. It's like a number of things have come to a close or are coming to a conclusion, and it's like, it's what next? The question marks are there. Where do I go from here? It's not that I necessarily want to walk away from things. You feel it's now a time of expansion, a time of growth. Now, it's interesting because I do feel it is a time of growth. But I think also what you need to ask yourself is, what is it that you want to achieve from this work? It's all well and fine saying, yes, I'm a light worker, I'm in spiritual work and all these sort of things. And yes, we all need an income to survive on. That's part of what makes the world go round. But I always wonder what it is that drives you to do this sort of work. I know for me personally, it's never been about finances. It's never been about money. It's always been about trying to help someone else to make their life better. And this is where I think you've been a little bit stuck. It's sort of like you've been wrestling with yourself at why you're doing this work. The first thing that they're showing me is, I think you need to review your pricing structure. I actually think that you're undervaluing yourself, and I think this is part of where the questioning is coming in. It's like, oh, how do I price my time? How do I price my knowledge? And that's always a difficult one, because so many people sort of believe that we should give this away freely. I don't agree with that. There has to be a transfer of energy, whether that's money or loaves of bread or a sheep or a cow or whatever. There has to be a transfer of energy of some sort of thing. In this day and age, it's currency. That's the transfer that has to happen. So I think you need to sit down and look at your pricing structure. I think there needs to be, you need to treat this like a business, and I think that's part of the problem. You've never actually put your work into the third person. We need to put it into, this is the third person, this is the business. Now, if you were a business and you were selling shoes, once a year you would reevaluate your pricing structure, your costs, how much money it's costing you to have the store open, how much it costs you to produce shoes, how much it costs you to sell them, and how much profit you're making. So I want to see you put your business into that way, and look at sort of, set a date on the calendar. The first of August 1 every year is when I look at how I'm going business-wise. Am I happy with the pricing structure that I've got? Is it time to have a little price increase? And I think if you can put it in that way, I think you'll start to feel that you're more in control of this, which is good, which is what needs to happen. Have you just taken up the study of another tool to put in the toolkit, Lisa?
Have I done what? What did you say with the tool?
Have you taken up some study in another area, like astrology or numerology or something like that?
Oh, no, right now I'm just, I'm working as a certified psychic medium, and that's what I do. I have my own business I've opened. It's called Magnet Motivation. Me and my husband, I was in a car wreck in 2014, and that left me paralyzed. So after this car wreck, my abilities have just been really heightened, and I went full force with it, and I've been doing it full time every day. And like I said, I'm a mother and I'm a wife, and so I'm just really trying to balance everything right now. But it's sometimes I have the I almost want to doubt myself, and I'm scared that I'm going to just wake up one morning and it's not going to be the same, you know, but it's that fear, it's that irrational fear that always is trying to creep in, and so I'm constantly working on staying balanced and staying motivating and inspiring for people, because that is why I do this. I do this for people, and I mean, I wish we could do it all free, but my time is money, and, you know, my abilities, I give my all to people when I look at them, so...
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it for money. What I'm suggesting, Lisa, is we've got to put it into the third person, as if the business entity is separate from you and your husband and separate from family life, so that if you do that, it then becomes less scary. Look, the day you stop having fears about losing your gift, that's the day that I think you're in serious trouble. Let me share that with you, Lisa. I've been in this sort of work over 40 years, and I can tell you I still wake up most days and think, oh my heavens, I hope I've still got my gift. And I think if you lose that, I think you lose your objectivity, I think you lose the ability to stay grounded. So don't be frightened of that. But can I sort of suggest, I mean, as we go through life and as we go through our psychic development, there's always something else that we can learn. Even though, as I said, I've been in this industry a hell of a long time, I personally went back earlier this year and started doing a course with somebody that's very world renowned, not because I thought that I was going to necessarily learn anything, it was something I did for my soul. So, you know, sometimes we've got to do things like that that are just purely for us, that feed our soul as a psychic, as a medium, as, you know, a light worker, that we sometimes need to do things for ourselves. I think what you need to do, what they're showing me, is there needs to be more structure. There needs to be, and this is really hard to do when you need income, is to set regular hours, that these are the only hours that I work. I've got work hours, I've got family hours, I've got, you know, homework hours, I've got time with my children, and stick to that. When somebody rings up and says I want an appointment and it's outside of those hours, that can be really daunting, because you know you need the money.
You're pretty spot on about that, because right now that's where I'm struggling. I'm struggling how to balance my time, where I can still have, you know, my time and my family time, and I have a hard time turning people away. You know, I'm just struggling with that right now.
I think we all struggle with that, Lisa, and that's something I can't give you a magic answer to that. All I can say to you is, if you look at it like a business, and this is how I overcame it, I went and did a business course and I put the psychic stuff into the business category, that this is business. Business hours are between this hour and this hour, no exceptions. And then that way, by you being more confident when you speak to people, and you don't say to them, well, when would you like your appointment? You say to them, my next available appointment is Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. And they say, oh, I can't do that, I work. And then you say to them, well, my next available appointment is. And it's whatever you might want to work outside of business hours, is when you give them that opportunity. So that's how you sort of, you've got to keep working at it, sweetheart. It doesn't just, you wake up one day and everything falls into place. It's a constant battle and a constant struggle between trying to manage your time and have downtime with your family, which is equally as important, if not so more important. So I think you're certainly on the right path, but they were showing me some other study or some other tool that you were going to start to study later this year as well.
My husband is actually getting into the astrology, so we're trying to get in that together and kind of build our business and do kind of where we can offer more services, you know, and just better ourselves all around. I was going to ask you, do you have are you getting anything, or do you have any feelings regarding my marriage or my family or anything?
Look, I think as far as your marriage and family life is concerned, I think, you know, things there are pretty stable, even though you sort of worry about things all the time. You know, there's always going to be ups and downs in family life, but basically on the whole, I think the two of you are twin souls. You're meant to be together. You know, you've got a great little family, so just keep going. Just take each day as it comes, Lisa. Don't try and fix the whole world's problems in one night. You know, take it one step at a time. But if you go to my Facebook page tomorrow, I'll put up there some suggestions of some astrology books that may help you and your husband with your studies.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, sweetheart. lovely to talk with you, and I wish you every success. I know you and your husband are going to do very well. You keep up the good work.
Thank you, and I wish you well too, and I appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you, Lisa. We're going to go to Brenda in Toronto, Ontario. Shut up. Are you there, Brenda?
Here. Hi.
Hello. Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
How can I help you?
Hi there. I just wanted to get a reading. I've been having, a difficult past few months, and I just wanted to see if, what direction I should go in, or, what could be, in my future, or what direction I should take.
Okay. All right. The last couple of months, I think what you've been doing, what's been happening is you've been going through what I term as a lot of psychic and emotional changes. So even though you've been feeling very, very restless and at times sort of really quite emotional, sometimes you're on a real great high and then the next couple of hours you can be feeling really quite low. Don't be too hard on yourself, because this just means that you're tuning into things a lot more than what you used to do. So this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. And this always happens just prior to a major emotional shift in our lives, or us moving into some very different areas of our life. So as we start to open ourselves up on a psychic sort of level or on an intuition level, we start to be more aware of our emotions, of how we feel, becoming super sensitive to things. Some people say, oh, noises are starting to annoy me. Some people say I can't stand light. Other people say I'm having food allergies, or things that, never bothered me once upon a time are now bothering me. And these are all part of the changes that are happening. What they are showing me is from August this year, I do feel that it's going to take a very different direction to where it is now. Have you been contemplating changing your day job?
Yes.
They're showing me a new job, but it's not coming before about August. And they're showing me it's still in the same type of work, but it's got a different energy about it. It's sort of like, it's still familiar type of work, but it's like the company themselves might handle their business a different way, so it's going to give a new sort of feel to you. It's giving you excitement. I'm going to say it's going to be a fairly reasonable sized company that you'll be going to work for. It won't be super small, but it's not a big multinational either. It's sort of like a medium sized company. We have the opportunity, I feel, to grow within the company itself. There's opportunities there for advancement. They particularly don't sort of stand in the way of women getting ahead in the business. They are very equal in that way. They don't care whether you're male or female. If you work hard, the opportunities will be there for you. I also feel that there's going to be some changes to where you're living. I'm not saying necessarily a move of residence, but I'm saying you're going to be changing things around or moving the furniture around or something like that. That's also part of the changes that are happening. Has there been some changes in your personal relationship with your matters of the heart? Has there been some difficult patches there with your partner?
Yes.
I'm not necessarily seeing an end to the relationship, but what I am seeing is we've still got some tricky patches here to manoeuvre. And the most important thing I can say to you is stand your ground and be open and honest. You don't have to turn around and change your mind or back down on what is important to you just because your partner doesn't understand, can't understand, or doesn't want it to be that way. If they're really the right person for you, then they will work at trying to find a solution with you. And by the same token, I'm not asking the other person to back down on what they believe is important either. It's a time of negotiation for the two of you, and I believe we can take this relationship into a much, much deeper level once we overcome these issues that have been coming up. It's because you're growing at a fast rate of knots and the other person hasn't been matching you the step. That's the major problem here. So they've either got to allow you to continue to grow and be happy to sit on the sidelines and just support you, or step up to the plate and grow with you. It's their choice. We don't always have to grow at the same rate. We just have to be accepting of our partner's changes. We don't all stay the same. Life would be boring. we'd all be back at babyhood still sitting in diapers. So that's not where we want to be, you know. That's what life is about. It's about evolving, growing, changing, moving forward. I think the remainder of this year will see some surprises, but surprises in a positive way, not necessarily in a negative way. So just stand your ground, take day by day. Don't be in a hurry to try and sort everything out in one go. Just take it one step at a time. And I know that you will find that when you look back on 2017, it's going to be one of the most major, exciting years of your life where a lot of change has happened. So I wish you well on your journey. I know that you will have some amazing stories to tell at the end of the year and have a great week. So unfortunately we've come to the end of another show. So next week on the show we'll be obviously doing the Simply Tarot card of the week. We'll be continuing on with our series of Mercury. Mercury will be moving into Cancer, Leo and Virgo next week, and we'll also have a little glimpse at what's happening in the universe around for you. So enjoy your week, be kind to each other, and I look forward to working with you all again next Wednesday. Have a great night.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family? This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort...
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry. Go along, son.
It's always worth it.
Whoa!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Let's do them pearly whites, man. Yeah! The boys, check it out.
Ooh, cute.
Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
Hey girl, what's down with the name? What's good, what's up?
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing. And it costs around $10,000. It's so not worth it.
Hi, I'm Faye, and thanks for watching Moonstruck. And now, back to A1R on the air, Psychic Talk Radio, now on Moonstruck TV, enlightening television.
Hi guys, welcome to Chakra Radio. This is Chakra Mystic, sorry about that. This is Polly Jo LeBay. I am definitely in hot weather here in Maine. I'm sure those of you on the East Coast have been having difficulties with this 90-degree weather, but we are all making it work, and I am making it work here. And I wanted to let you guys know that this energy that's going on since the full moon happened, it's all about flow. And it seems to be focusing around a lot of people's relationships, as well as things like behaviors and patterns that we don't want to do anymore. In my client base and in my classrooms, we've been talking about things like addictive behavior, even to things like our telephone. We all spend a lot more time on our devices than we used to, and when we are out of the present moment, it can cause stress and anxiety. If we're worrying about what we need to do rather than what we are doing in the moment, or if we're focusing on the things we missed or forgot, then we're focused on the past. And each time we do that, we get out of our energy flow. And the first place that takes an effect is in our relationships. So there's been a lot of interesting relationship energy coming up. we also know that, you know, whenever the weather is hot and we're really close to a full moon, a lot of times people can get extra cranky. And again, that's all about flow. And when we hold back our emotions and what we're feeling, we stop our energy from moving through our body. And anywhere we stop our energy from moving, we stop it in every other aspect of our lives. And flow is so important, not just in relationships, but it affects our jobs and our finances. It affects our creativity, and it affects how we can move forward in our life. And no one wants that. We all want to step into something that's a little more easy, or definitely with a lot less stress. So whenever you feel the tension and the stress and the anxiety creeping up, that's an indication that you've stepped out of the present moment. So make sure when you get in that space to just really breathe into your own energy, focus on what's around you, pick out objects in the room so that you can, you know, really relate to where you are now. I often will tell people, okay, tell me a few things in front of you. Or like for me right now, I might say I have green in my book bag that I brought my books in, and there's green in a towel that I brought to go to the beach. So that puts me here in the now, and it allows me to kind of drop my stress and drop my worry because I'm thinking about what's right in front of me. And, you know, use that as a tool when you feel like things are getting a little heated, not just from the heat, but in your relationships too. So I'm going to welcome to our show Delta in Dallas, Texas. Hello, sweetie.
Hello, sister. How you doing?
Hi. What can I help you with?
Yes, sister. I was wondering on my question. I'm going to try to start a business, and I was seeing how the finance part was coming along.
Okay. So take a deep breath for a second. Okay. So what is your business related to, dear?
To RV parks.
Okay. And so I'm feeling it in your second chakra. That's good. So what has been going on with the business? Are you in the negotiating stage or the financing stage?
Writing the business plan and getting financing for it.
Okay. So what I'm feeling is I'm feeling relatively good flow, which is a good thing. That's the energy of creating something new, so that all feels in alignment. I'm feeling a little tightness in your throat, so are you having difficulty writing down your vision?
Just a little bit, yes.
Yeah. Out of the worry of the, what, you know, like okay, the things that you have to put on paper. Because there's a little bit of a disconnect. There's a little disconnect between the amount of flow in your creativity and just putting it on paper. Buying a retreat center. Both are involve a lot of paperwork and a lot of business planning. And what I've been working with both of those people on is the flow of money. So making sure that the flow of your money and the flow of what the bank thinks the money is, all of that can kind of go together. And in that, you sort of align your business plan with how that feels. So, or how small. You want to feel the money flowing, but there's a little bit of disconnect up in the, so we are having an interesting evening. I told you guys about the flow and the full moon, and one of the things that happens is the technology and has difficulty with flow as well. Too much about it. For those of you who are dealing with this type of issue with the so that we will hide. We have Lisa back.
Hey.
Woo! We lost you there for a moment. Hi, sweetie.
Yes, the phone went dead.
That's okay. So what I want to...
Things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do things positive to show.
Okay, so what you want to will be to help your vision come true. Does that you can so that other people see it too. The more, and so now the pathways are started, and so it's like moving even faster, and it's because we have more people holding the intention. So when you are doing something like a business deal, or even like our caller who was dealing with the court system with her children, seeing the land being used for that marvelous RV park that I can already see. I see a bunch of them lined up, and some campfires and some picnic tables, so it's really kind of cool. There's even like a playground structure that I can see, and having that vision that you can share so that it allows the financing to come in, it allows the flow of money to come in, all of that works hand in hand. And you know, you can do this for anything. I mean, a lot of people do it around buying a new house. They envision how many bedrooms they want and how big of a yard and the neighborhood, you know, the style of the house. They've got a vision of the cake and the dress and the bridesmaids' dresses and their colors that they're going to use and the time of year, and they've seen it so clearly in their own head. They just need to get other people excited about it too. So you can use this process with anything that you are trying to create in your life. And all of these are you in relationship to another thing, whether it's bringing children into your life or it's bringing a business to fruition. All of those things are about flow and relationship. So get out there and allow your creativity to flow however it's meant to for you, whether it's writing a business plan or it's, you know, sending out healing heart energy to allow yourself to create people excited about it too. So you can use this process with anything that you are trying to create in your life. And all of these are you in relationship to another thing, whether it's bringing children into your life or it's bringing a business to fruition. All of those things are about flow and relationship. So get out there and allow your creativity to flow however it's meant to for you, whether it's writing a business plan or it's, you know, sending out healing heart energy to allow yourself to create beauty. You know, all of them, the wonderful things we can bring into our life are, you know, run with the flow, and you are really in a great space to start that energy going. So next week is the solstice, so I hope some of you are thinking about the beautiful sun energy and how to bring that into your life. And if you're in my neck of the woods in Massachusetts, you can always come visit us on the solstice on Wednesday the 20th. You know, all of them, the wonderful things we can bring into our life are, you know, run with the flow, and you are really in a great space to start that energy going. So next week is the solstice, so I hope some of you are thinking about the beautiful sun energy and how to bring that into your life. And if you're in my neck of the woods in Massachusetts, you can always come visit us on the solstice on Wednesday the 20th.